So if we can turn our attention inward, the inner peace, the stillness, the presence, the divine presence. Welcome your experience just as it appears to you. In this moment, contemplate that I. It refers to this effortless awareness and not to somebody, not to the body-mind. The body-mind has a name, but you have no name. Meaning you, consciousness, have no name. Perceptions appear to you. Instant by instant. Simultaneously appearing and dissolving and disappearing. But nothing happens to you. You being this aware presence. So you don't need to imagine yourself to be somebody, to be a man or a woman or somebody. In order to hear these words, nothing is needed. Nothing is required. So you can rest. You rest as being, as presence. You don't need memory. You don't need to remember anything. You don't need to do anything. So simply rest as you are. Just for the duration of this meeting, you can let go of trying to achieve anything, trying to fix anything. Make no distinctions whatsoever. In particular, vis-a-vis I, do not make any distinctions between I and not I. Explore or be open to the possibility that everything is I. That awareness does not exclude anything. Everything is equal in love. Everything is equal in truth, in reality. Although distinctions apply to the mind, appropriately so, there are no distinctions that apply to reality. There are no distinctions that apply to love, to truth, to consciousness. From the mind's perspective, sometimes I love A and I don't love B, or I love B and I don't love A. But from the perspective of reality, from the perspective of consciousness, all is love. All is love. All is truth. So we can recognize in this moment our non-dual reality, the reality of consciousness, which has no borders, In consciousness, there isn't my consciousness and your consciousness, my reality and your reality. No, it is one reality. So in this meeting is titled what is freedom if I do not choose my thoughts? That thoughts appear to us, like the weather appears to us. We don't have files and folders to which we go in order to pick and choose the current thought. That is not our experience. We perceive a thought, it appears to us. There is not a personal chooser. Which is choosing thought A and rejecting thought B. So then one may wonder, where is my freedom? What is my freedom? After all, we all know there is a reality to freedom. It's not just a concept. We know it deeply within us, in our heart. In order to come to an understanding about your freedom, your true freedom, your real freedom, you need to come to clarity about what I means, what I refers to. Obviously, there is limited freedom to the body. Body minds are limited. They have a limited freedom, a limited capacity, a limited potential. But when we say I, are we referring to the body? Are we referring to a limited entity? Or are we referring to the reality which in this moment perceives this perception? Whatever that is, something real is. There is a reality that perceives, even if this is a dream, there is a reality which perceives. You have to be clear that there's only one I, which is the reality which perceives, which we refer to as consciousness or presence, or reality or being. And as being, we are all the same, we are all one. This is one aware presence. And the freedom we are speaking about is the freedom of consciousness. Because consciousness is not phenomenal. It is not made out of flesh and bones or molecules, atoms. It's not made out of sticks and stones. Consciousness is what we refer to as I. each one of us refer to ourselves as I, not I, this female form or male form, or this mother or father, daughter, son, cousin. No, I, the formless, invisible presence that is alive and aware, knows that it is. I know I am. I know I am I know I am aware. Not I know I am a female awareness or a male awareness. That's a fallacy. This I is the one I, one reality. You have to be clear about the reality of consciousness, and that this reality is nothing else but this very self, I, this awareness, this normal, mundane awareness is God's awareness. And that's where God's freedom, your freedom, the freedom of awareness, the freedom of consciousness is. It is not in your personhood, it's not in your body, it's not in your mind. There's a limited freedom there. So you need to come to understanding about your true freedom so that you cease to suffer from the sense of limitation which plagues us all. It's time to see through this false belief of limitation, this sense of conditional freedom. I will be free when and if. Sometimes in the future, I have to see through this fallacy to come to understanding about consciousness and the freedom and the joy and the happiness and the love that it is, that I am. And the path to this understanding is to investigate your belief that you, meaning consciousness, is limited and depends on the body-mind. Investigate this evidence. Is there any evidence that you are born? Not that the body is born, not that a thought arises, but that consciousness is born, and that consciousness exists in time and space. This is your investigation, and it's via your investigation that you will come to your understanding, not my understanding, your own understanding, your own certainty, so that this certainty will be yours. The clarity will be yours. What evidence is there that consciousness will die one day, that it's limited, that it's personal, that it resides inside my body or inside my brain or 2 inches behind my eyes? Or what is that evidence that you have outside of the belief that you are limited and personal, meaning always you means consciousness, not the body? Of course, we all know the body is limited. That's not a big deal. But you, consciousness, I, consciousness. So this inquiry is yours to conduct, and to seek assistance in the process as needed, in order to come to your certainty, to your clarity. That there is no personal freedom, but that your freedom is real. It is God's freedom. It is the freedom of consciousness, the freedom which is your reality. You need to visit that over and over until you come to clarity. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please unmute your mic, and you're welcome to turn on your video. Any questions?
Hi there, Magdi.
Hello, George.
You said the body has limited freedom. Would it be more accurate to say the body has no freedom?
Yeah, you could say that, yes.
Okay, if I can't say that, I'd like to say that. Although yes. I'm not free to say that. Okay.
Well, there is only one freedom, yes, which is the freedom of God's freedom, the freedom of consciousness, via a particular body-mind.
Okay.
There are certain limitations. Yes, it would be correct to say that there is no freedom at the body level, because the body is just not only a concept, but it's also made out of matter. Let's say, for example, that's one model. You could say it's made out of carbon, or what, you know, whichever way you define it. And you can say, well, carbon is just an energetic field. And then you ask yourself, what animates this energetic field? Does matter animate itself? That's $1 million question. There is no evidence that that matter animates itself. So we can remain unknowing about that. But from the perspective of our inquiry, there is only one reality, right? That's clear to us. At least I hope so. And anyways, we can explore that if need be. There's one reality. And so therefore, if we're speaking about freedom, we can only attribute freedom correctly to that one reality, because there is no other option. We cannot allocate freedom to non-reality, right? You follow my thinking? So given you can only allocate freedom, or real freedom, to reality, then yes, there is only one freedom, which is the freedom of reality, the freedom of consciousness. So you are correct in your statement.
Right. You also said there is no personal freedom, which is also, from what I can say, is yes, obviously there's no personal freedom. I mean, there's no personal freedom for two reasons. Number one, as you said, I don't choose my thoughts, and actions seem to come from thoughts. But the other reason there's no personal freedom is there's no person.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But I guess the thing that's a little bit uncertain here is there is I'll call it an illusion, a feeling of freedom. In other words, there's a doership, okay? There's a feeling that I'm free to do what I want, although I know that that's illusory.
No, why you say it's illusory?
Well, because as you already said, first of all, if I'm going to do something,
It depends what
you.
It depends how
I'm going to have a thought saying I'm going to do something.
It depends how you define I.
Okay. Yes, it does. Very much so.
Because the feeling that we have freedom is not a false feeling. What is false is to attribute this sense of freedom to an illusory self, to the body mind.
Okay. You made two statements, and I clearly get the second one. It seems to me, again, this is just my seeming, I can't really argue for it, that there's a consciousness that's sort of acting through me or through this body mind, and that I have no control over that. And I guess you're going to ask me what I mean by I, and that's where the confusion lies.
Absolutely. When you say I have no control over that, what are you referring to? I mean, what I are you referring to when you say I have no control over that?
Okay, well, that's where my source of confusion lies, because even though I know there's no separate self here, whatever, there's the illusion that there is. I'm still acting under that illusion, okay, that there's a separate I here who, at least in theory, could have free will, but in fact doesn't.
You are confusing I, the sense of I, the feeling of I. You're confusing it with a limited, with a belief in a limited entity. So the sense of I is consciousness. It's not a limited doer. I mean, don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. When we are throwing away I, the limited illusory identification, we are not at the same time throwing away the baby. We're not throwing away consciousness, I consciousness, with the bathwater. It seems that you're doing that.
It seems I'm throwing away only half of the bathwater, in that the I that is hearing, that is, the I that's hearing that, your voice, I'm not throwing that away.
Okay.
I'm just throwing away the I that's a doer.
Well, that the I that hears these words is the doer.
That's where that's where I'm confused. In other words, I acknowledge the I that hears this word. I got that, okay? But I'm somehow throwing away the I that's the doer. And it's just my confusion. It'll just take me some time to straighten it out.
Right now, you are speaking. So let's see. Okay. Holger, I'm not sure. Let somebody in here. So right now you hear these words. I mean, you perceive this perception. You nod your head, right? So there is a doer.
No, wait, but that's not a do. Well, maybe we're talking about the word doing. There's a perception. It's clear to me there's a perceiver here.
Well, yeah.
There's perception here. Well, there's perception here, but the voice that I can hear you. I can hear your voice, okay? But the voice that's speaking, that I'm speaking, seems to be, I have no choice about. It seems to be that I hear what I say only when I say it. I haven't decided in advance I'm going to say this. So it looks like there's no doer here.
Right.
There's definitely a perceiver, but no doer.
Yes. So the decision and the action and the perception are not three. The decision, the doing, and the perceiving, and the dissolving are simultaneous.
Okay, that's where I'm confused. You say there are not three. It seems to me that there are two. But okay, that's just my confusion. I'm
No, what two? What two? You said two, right? What
right.
two are they? What two are they?
Okay. The one is the perceiving, and the second is the doing. They, to me, seem different.
Do you experience a perceiving and then a second later a doing, or you perceive a doing and a second later a perceiving? Is that your
Well,
experience?
no, they're totally different. It's not a second later. You know, the perceiving, I had no choice. Well, let's put it this way. I have no choice about the perceiving. Right? I'm just sitting here. You're doing the talking. I'm perceiving. I can't not perceive. I can close my ears or something, but the perceiving seems it's not an action I'm taking. Okay. The perceiving seems it's happening through the body, of course, through the ears, but it's not an action. I'm not choosing to perceive. So it seems that that's the distinction I'm making. There's no action in the perceiving, but there's action in my speaking. And that action in my speaking seems to have no choice about it. The action in my perceiving also has no choice about it. I can't choose. If I'm living, I can close my ears or turn the computer off, but I can't choose not to perceive.
Well, you choose not to perceive anything phenomenal between two perceptions.
I'm sorry. Please say that again. I didn't follow that.
You choose not to perceive a thought between two thoughts.
Okay, you sure? Yeah, sorry. You're talking about perceiving thoughts rather than perceiving sounds.
Okay, you choose not to perceive a sound between two sounds.
No, I don't get to have that choice.
Well, do you perceive one sound or do you perceive two sounds?
Well, at any one instant, I perceive one sound. And the next instant, I'll perceive a different sound.
So between sound A and between sound B, there is no sound, right?
No, there's no. Yes, I mean there's a continuum. If you clasp your hand, there's a sound, and then it stops. There may be silence, and then there may be another sound.
Right. So there is between sound A and sound B, there is no sound. There is an absence of sound.
Okay, there's no sound. Okay, right.
So you're choosing sound A, and you're choosing sound B. At least that's what you were saying, or maybe you're not.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying I have no choice about sound A, and I have no choice about sound B.
Right.
They just happen. I don't choose them. You're making, when you make the sound, I'm talking about sounds that you make or sounds that I make. Sounds that you make, I have no choice about that.
Yes.
And sounds that I make, I have no choice about.
You have to go to what you mean by I.
Yes, that's the problem.
When there is a sound, like right now speaking, there is a sound, there is speaking and hearing. It depends how you refer by what you mean by I. If by I, I'm referring to Magdi, the person, or whatever, a separate entity, separate consciousness, which doesn't exist. You are right. You are correct in saying, I don't choose this the speaking or the sound or hearing. I don't choose that. You could say that from that perspective. But on what ground, on what basis would you say that awareness, I'm not choosing this expression right now and perceiving it and acting it? On what basis can you say that? You can say with certainty, I do not choose this sound because you looked for that personal chooser and you found via your inquiry that there is no personal chooser.
Right.
But when you looked for consciousness, you found that consciousness is here and it's real. It's real and it's the only reality. If you did come to that conclusion that consciousness is real and is the only reality and it's real right now, on what basis, on what ground would you say, would you make a statement that consciousness is not the chooser, the creator, and the perceiver? You have no ground to make this statement. You could say, I don't know. Oh, it's fine. That would be good.
You're right. I have no ground to make that statement. I can say I don't know. Yes.
So I don't know is great. It's perfect. I mean, because it's more real. It's more sincere. Now,
thank you.
If we arrive together to I don't know, I'm going to invite you to the following. I'm going to invite you to the following. If we choose to talk about creation, about perceiving, right? About doing. If we choose to talk about doership, for example, right? Does it make sense for you that we talk about real doership or about illusory doership? Which one makes sense to you?
I could jokingly say neither one makes sense to me, but okay. I mean, if we're going to talk about doership, I agree with you. It only makes sense to talk about real doership.
But you brought something interesting. You said none of them, if none of them make sense to you, then we don't need to talk about doing. We don't need to talk about doing.
Maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't talk about.
Maybe we don't need to talk about doing. But in case, and since we do talk about doing, it's a question that arises often, since we do talk about doing, then go with me because we started this conversation about doing. Would you rather look at real doership or illusory doership? You would choose the real doership.
Real doership, yes.
So therefore, once you've determined that I'm interested in real doership, you have to go to reality.
Right.
Because the doer of the deed must be real, because we're talking about real doership. And the only candidate for reality is consciousness, right?
Right.
Therefore, carrying this conversation, I know it's a conversation about doership. If we carry this conversation, we can come to the conclusion, because we're talking about real doership and not illusory doership, that the only candidate for a real deed is consciousness.
Yes, I quite agree.
From that perspective, having conducted this conversation and this inquiry, we can say, well, there is one doer. If we're talking about doership, there is only one doer, and which is I, consciousness.
Okay, Magdi, I see my problem, okay? And I think I'm just going to have to live with it a little bit. You said consciousness, there's only one doer. Consciousness is that doer. I'm with you there. No problem. Then you said consciousness, I, doer, and that's where I lost it. In other words, I have not yet gotten to the point where I associate the I with the consciousness.
But you have an experience of consciousness. You do, don't you?
Of course.
What is your experience of consciousness? Is it a thought that appears to you?
No. Okay. No. So no. Here's what here's the way it shows up to me, okay? I'm not going to argue with them. Just, this is the way it seems. There's no question that there's consciousness here. I don't doubt that. The doubt is that I guess it somehow seems that the consciousness is personal. It somehow seems that there's a consciousness out, there's a consciousness. And it almost, I can't make any sense of it. It seems that there's a consciousness and there's a personal consciousness. They don't quite match up. I'm talking nonsense. I'm just
the only way to match them is if you introduce a person.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Because there can't be personal consciousness if there's no person.
Right. But experientially, right now, there is consciousness, right?
Yes.
You have an experience, you have an experiential, it's experiential, it's not like a concept. I know there is a concept, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about experientially, there is consciousness. You are conscious. There is, yes, consciousness is your direct experience. But a person,
yes, I mean,
but a person,
my direct experience is I can hear and see, and I have these sensations.
but these
and
are
it almost look like consciousness is a deduction from that. You know what I mean? These are the phenomenal experiences.
yes, but between two phenomenal experiences, you don't disappear.
That's correct. You're right. Yes.
So consciousness is available before, during, and after the sound.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yes.
Sound appears somewhere, and disappears. You don't disappear. So experientially, you said there is a consciousness out there, a consciousness. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about consciousness is the reality of our experience right now.
Yes, I get it. Yes.
You know, Francis defines consciousness as whatever it is that perceives, the reality which perceives right now. It's an experience. The fact that I perceive is undeniable.
Right. Here's the problem. You say the reality that perceives right now, no problem with that. But between perceptions, I can't say the reality that perceives right now, because between perceptions, there's no perceiving right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you don't disappear between perceptions. So, you know, we're defining.
Well, no, I don't disappear, but I don't appear either. No, I don't have a sense of appearance.
No, you don't have the sense of appearance. You're right, but you know you are. You don't suddenly experience a disappearance. In other words, you still are.
Right.
And if I ask you, does awareness get discontinued somehow? Do you have any experience of awareness being discontinued between two thoughts? You would answer me no. Yeah, I don't.
Of course not. Right.
Right. So,
but it seems that that's a deduction, a very logical deduction.
No, it's a statement. It's a statement that is based on an evidence. You looked, but of course it's not a phenomenal evidence. It's not like going and looking in your drawer, but you looked at whether you actually disappeared, or consciousness or awareness disappeared between two perceptions. So experientially, you went to your experience and you said, no, of course not.
Right. You're right. The consciousness does not disappear. I have no phenomenal experience of consciousness or that.
Yeah, or normal. You don't have any experience whatsoever, phenomenal or nominal, of consciousness disappearing, of awareness disappearing.
Right. Okay.
So this is why we say there is reality. Awareness, consciousness is reality, is our reality, because we are. I mean, I know I am. Right? There's no. It's when you ask yourself, am I? You will come to the conclusion, yes, I am. So there is a reality to you. There is a reality to I. There's a reality to I. And this reality, we came to the conclusion, there's one candidate for reality, which is consciousness or awareness. So that's why I say I/consciousness. I know it confused you, but that's a very important understanding, George. You know that you need to investigate this understanding, otherwise it will remain. You will continue to sort of experience some sense of separation from consciousness, and that sense of separation is illusory. But although it's illusory, it clouds the understanding.
Yes, I get it, Magdi. No, I do see it now. In other words, I really see that when I say this. Yes, you're right. I still maintain this small amount of separation, even though I know it's not there. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know.
Yeah, you know, the only reason why we talk about doership, about doing, and that there is only one doer, is only because there is the belief that there is a personal doer and it's limited, and I have no limited freedom, and goodness, what's going to happen to me if I do the wrong thing, if I do the right thing. Because there is ignorance, we talk about, wait a minute, you know, let's talk about doership, about doing, that there is no separate doer, that in fact, there is only, because we're talking about doing, there is only one doer, which is consciousness. As opposed to talking about consciousness being sort of a blank state. Consciousness is creative. This is one of the, let's say, aspects or attributes of consciousness is creation. We know that experientially. Right now, there is creation. I mean, these words and hearing and the breath and the light and all that is creation. That's what we refer to as creation. So one of the aspects of consciousness is creation, as opposed to being a blank state. So there is a doership or a creative aspect to consciousness. But
the aspects of consciousness,
or attributes.
wasn't that discussed just a few hours ago? Didn't you just discuss, or someone discussed that with Francis just a few hours ago? And
Yes.
he determined there were no such aspects?
The attributes of consciousness, right? We were talking about the attributes of consciousness.
Okay, the attributes and the aspects. I'm confused.
Well, never mind. I use the term aspect, but let's talk about just a term, the attributes of consciousness. The attributes of consciousness are like the various, consciousness is not a blank state. The experience of consciousness is the experience of love, beauty, freedom, understanding, wisdom, humor, etc. Wherever you have freedom, wherever you have consciousness, there is freedom. Why? Because consciousness is not opposed. There aren't two. There aren't two camps, right? There is just one reality. Being unopposed, when we are unopposed, when we experience no opposition, that's what we refer to as freedom, right? Yes?
Okay, if that's your definition of freedom.
Yes. When you are
clearly that's clear. Yes, there's no opposition. Of course.
There's no opposition. Like when you are inside a cell, you have four walls around you, right? You are opposed. You're opposed. There is a concrete wall around you. There is the inside the cell and outside the cell, right?
Right.
So inside the cell, you have very limited freedom. And outside the cell, you have infinite freedom, except inside the cell, because now you're outside the cell. So that's relative freedom, because there is inside and outside. There are two camps. There are two realities. There is the inside reality, inside the jail, and the outside reality. But when it comes to consciousness, there is no opposition, because we're talking about one reality, right?
Right.
So therefore, because consciousness has no opposition, that's freedom. That's the definition of freedom. The other thing is, because consciousness is the one reality, meaning it's lacking nothing, right?
Right.
When you are lacking nothing, you're happy. When you are lacking something, you are seeking that something, whatever it is, a good relationship,
right.
better position, better health, So happiness and consciousness are not two. They are attributes of consciousness. Love means what? Love means the two are one. You and your beloved are one, right? That's love.
Right.
In consciousness, consciousness is one. Because consciousness is one, meaning it is not two, right? And because consciousness is not two, consciousness is love. Anyways, I know this is not, we're talking about attributes of consciousness, but yes. So
okay, no, I see another source of confusion now. That is the use of the word freedom. As you point out, there's no opposition. Okay.
Right. Yes.
So in that sense, there's freedom. There's nothing stopping. There's no opposition. Okay. In that sense, there's freedom. But I was thinking of freedom in a different sense, like choice, or I could have done things differently, or something like that. And maybe that's my source of confusion about the word freedom. Yeah, there's obviously freedom, and there's freedom in consciousness, and that there's no opposition. There's, there is nothing else.
Okay, well, let's talk for a minute about choice. Okay, so. Okay. Let's go back to consciousness, that consciousness is the one reality, and there is no other reality, right?
Right.
So since consciousness is the one reality, anything that occurs within this one consciousness belongs to this one reality, is the quote unquote doing, is the choice, if you want to use the term choice.
Well, I wouldn't use the word choice. It's the doing, yes. Okay. There's happening.
It's the doing. So therefore, there is only that doing. There isn't any other possibility. There isn't like, oh, wait a minute, I oppose. Something is in opposition to consciousness. So therefore, the issue of choice is moot. Is not a real question when it comes to reality.
Yes.
But yes. as a compromise, when we're talking about choice, we say, okay, look, consciousness is the only chooser. But it's not like consciousness is going through its file and saying, oh, heck, am I going to choose this? Am I going to choose that? The red shoes or the yellow shoes? Which one am I going to choose? No, it's just a way of speaking. It is the only reality. And therefore, all the deeds, or whatever deeds there are, creation arises, creativity or creation arises out of one creator.
Okay, yes. I think I'm clear about that now. Yes. Okay, I got it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I had several confusions. Number one is the idea of choosing, like it could have done A or could have done B. And my other confusion was freedom, which is related to that. Anyhow, I think I'm clear now. I mean, I'm clear for now. I may be more confused 5 minutes from now, but I think right now I'm okay. All right. Thank you very much, Magdi. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Magdi.
Hi, Chris.
It's Chris.
Yes.
Hi. Nice to be here.
Yeah, nice to see
this kind of ties into George's question, because I kept feeling like another important aspect of that. I also have this sense of doership and choice. And I can see your description of it being one that's very helpful. That clarifies it on a certain level. The other part, though, is this. I'd like to sort of approach it from this aspect of time, because that's something I'm very clear on. Like, I experientially am very, very clear that I can't step out of this moment. That it certainly feels like time is passing, and I totally accept that, but in reality, it isn't.
Yes.
So that's another way that this seems to sort of collapse for me, is that like I can't. So I guess I was getting a little confused about saying there's only one doer. Again, I don't mean to nitpick, but it's implying this time that I'm getting confused again.
Yes.
So this is right? Like in the oneness, there really can't be.
Yes.
And the two things I want to ask was there can't be any time. And then the other part is this sense of freedom is genuine. You said that before, but I wanted to reiterate it. Like that's because I do have a sense of a body too, right? Like a separate body that is conditioning that I'm undoing, that's being undone. And that is changing. But the sense of freedom is something I can trust. That's real.
Yes. You know, the sense of a separate body. So in our experience, we sense the body. So for example, we have a sensation of being, or a sense of even physical sensation of our feet on the ground, or the breath, or our neck, or our face. I mean, there are bodily sensations, but we don't need to jump from we perceive a bodily sensation to is a separate body, a separate body. A separate body assumes that there is a separate owner, I guess, or inhabitor of the body, you know. So it's true that the body has a very particular name, you know, Chris, Magdi, etc. That's the name of the body. But experientially, the body appears to us as sensations and perceptions, right? There's nothing separate about perception. Right now, you perceive this perception. What makes any aspect of your experience separate?
Yeah, there is none.
Right.
No,
Yes. Just a comment, because you mentioned but yes, in terms of freedom, freedom is also freedom of the impression of time. There's actually no linear time. Linear time is a concept that's useful for, I'm going to catch a train at 4 o'clock today, blah, blah, blah. It has, you know, there's a functional aspect to the concept of time. But psychological time doesn't exist. The only reason why we experience the angst of time is because of the sense of separation. We believe that we are an entity that exists in time. We believe that consciousness is limited and personal and that it exists in time. But no, it's the other way around. Time meaning thought, because time and thought are intertwined. A memory of a conversation with George that was before my conversation, you know, our conversation right now. So there is a thought and image which we can refer to, you know, and so then there is an impression of time, but not an experience. We don't have an experiential, a direct experiential thing called time, but we do have the impression of time as, oh yeah, you know, 5 minutes ago, you know, Magdi and George were having a conversation. So time arises as in presence, you know, as a thought. But the reality of time, meaning the reality of the thought about time, is always the same reality, which is consciousness, awareness. So yes, you can just stay, if that's very significant for you, it seems that it is, that you do not exist in time. You can, you know, come to quickly to the deduction or the clarity that nothing exists in time, that because there is no time, there's no reality to time. So therefore, nothing exists in time, and that I do not exist in time. But although there is no time, does not mean there isn't consciousness. There is no such a thing as time, but there is I as presence, as knowingness, as awareness. And that therefore, because there is no time, well, the only option available is eternity. I mean, eternity doesn't mean a long time, it means no time, in no time. So there is no third option. It's either there is time, and then we can go, okay, how much time, you know, 20 billion years or 85 billion years. But if that option is X, you know, factor, then the only option that's available is eternity, meaning it takes you to the understanding about death and deathlessness. There is, so therefore in the realm of time, there is birth and death in the realm of time. But given that time is a useful concept, so therefore conceptually, there is, birth and death, but experientially, in the reality of eternity, there is no beginning and ending. So in fact, when you investigate consciousness, you will find that you don't have we have no evidence of when we started and when we will end. That's because we have no evidence of when we started.
So this misconception of the body, I'm seeing that as a pathway to understanding. It's the same thing with this misconception of time. I mean, I guess what I'm realizing is like, it has really profound,
Yes.
It'll have a profound impact on the way that I think and live life. If I really, like, I see that clearly in my experience, but I don't live as if there's no psychological time. And I know, I don't mean practically, but I mean literally in like, there wouldn't be the room for me sensing myself as a doer in my choices in life if I understood clearly and behaved as if there wasn't psychological time.
Well, I have the experience of knowing no time, and that I don't exist in time, but it doesn't impede whatsoever my decisions and my clarity about when to stop at the red light, when to say no to somebody who's trying to sell me a broken vacuum. And no, that's a no-brainer. But it's a very good point, because if you really contemplate that in fact there is no time, therefore your body, the body which exists in time, that shifts, is no longer a body that exists in time. It's an existence in eternity. The existence in eternity is not the existence of a body. The only thing that can exist in eternity is eternity itself. There is no other candidate that can exist in eternity, right? You can't have something that's gonna last 500 billion years to exist in eternity. You can't. The only candidate for eternity is eternity, which we refer to as the eternity of being, or the eternity of presence, or the eternity of consciousness, or we refer to as reality. So in terms of living our life, it is completely possible. Actually, it's designed that way. We're designed to live our life as the eternity of being. It's completely on board. It's consciousness hasn't actually reduced itself. It hasn't squeezed its infinity into a period of 50 billion years. It hasn't actually done that. It's still limitless. It's still infinite and eternal. So it's perfectly possible to dream any of your dreams, which you do actually in your night dreams, in your complete freedom. I mean, you can dream, and you do dream all sorts of things, infinite possibilities, without without you being reduced in any way by your dreams. If you dream that you lost all your fortune, you don't wake up having lost all your fortune. So life is your freedom, is your playground, it's your creative arena, among other things. I mean, human life is just a drop in the bucket, that's among other things. It's one of the dimensions of God's creativity. And there is this idea that we are viewing just this dimension. And that's true from the perspective of being a personal mind, a human mind. But that's just only from the perspective of this human mind. This does not imply that infinite other viewings are excluded. That's just a point of view. This is just a point of view right now, just a point of view. Our experience is a point of view. But what's lovely about our experience right now, which is a point of view, is that it's a point of view about God. It's a point of view about reality. It's a point of view about the game, about the game. You know how like sometimes you're in the game and you're inside the game, and you gotta go into this chamber, then you gotta make a right, then you have to 3 possibilities. You make a right, straight, or left. You know, this is you are in the game. But this point of view we're having now is about the game. It's like we're sitting in the studio and we're viewing the game, the entire game. And we're viewing the entire game, and we're viewing what we thought is our reality, what we thought we are inside the game. And we're viewing what we imagined ourselves to be inside the game. Because now we are able to view the personal dream, but from an impersonal perspective. I don't know if this makes sense, but yeah. Okay, Chris. Any questions?
Hey, Magdi.
Yes, hello, Chalo.
Yeah, if I'm meditating and I'm paying attention to my breath, and then suddenly I realized meaning like the person, which I know that there's no person, but let's say I realized that I drifted, and now I'm thinking about going and make some coffee. And then I say, and then I realize that, and I say, oh, I have to go back to my breath, and I go back to my breath. Who or what made the choice to go back to the breath?
There's only one chooser. It's always consciousness.
Hmm.
There's only one chooser. There isn't a separate another reality besides consciousness, which is reality B. There's only one reality, Chalo. Only one reality. So what is it that's viewing? What is it that's perceiving? What is it that's doing? It's only one reality. Now,
so what's going to happen, and it's just like a manifestation of the person thinking about making coffee, and the manifestation of a person paying attention to her breath, just 2 different manifestations of the same?
No, we perceive the thought, it'd be nice to go have a cup of coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
You view this thought, and in the same way, exactly the same way, you view the thought, oh, no, I should stay with my meditation. You're just viewing 2 different thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't one thought which says I should stay with my meditation, which is better.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a better thought than the thought I want to have a cup of coffee. No.
Yeah.
They're all equal. They're just perceptions. And
okay.
you are the reality which perceives.
Yeah. Okay. So it's that reality perceiving different actions, but the same reality perceiving the same, basically different expressions.
Yes, different perceptions, different sounds, different sensations, different thoughts, different images.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reality. Yeah. It's not that suddenly it's a different eye which is perceiving the thought that, oh wow, it'd be nice to have a cup of coffee. That's not separate I from the I that perceives, oh no, I should continue with my meditation. There isn't a better, there isn't a spiritual I which is better than a coffee drinking I. It's the same I, it's the same awareness. You see, the same awareness. So as a thought that may arise, oh, I should be more spiritual, that's just a thought appearing within awareness, that, awareness creates ignorance. There is no reality to ignorance, because the reality of everything is awareness, is consciousness. So the thought which appears, oh, I am the body. I am a separate, limited consciousness. That thought is created and perceived by consciousness. It's the game of consciousness. There is no personal thinker. There isn't a person who has a folder of thoughts and you choose, I'm going to choose these thoughts. If there was a personal thinker, we would be all thinking the positive thoughts all the time. Why would you ever think in negative thoughts? If you personally chose your thoughts, why would you ever choose a negative thought? You would choose all positive thoughts, happy thoughts. And all your actions and all your deeds will be happy. But that's not the case. Thoughts appear to us. They appear to consciousness. They appear within awareness. You perceive the thought, I'd like to drink some coffee, and say, I should meditate, because meditation is good for me. And then a thought may appear, what is this me? Oh, me is I don't know. I don't know what me. Interesting. Now consciousness is now playing the game of wondering, is questioning, what is this me? I don't know what is this me. I don't know what is this me. It's me, it's Charo. Well, what is Charo? Charo is the guy who owns this car and who lives in this house. And wait a minute, so you are the body, you are the body mind? Yeah, I am the body mind. Okay, well, what perceives the body mind? What perceives the body? Yeah, what perceives the body? I perceive the body. Wait a minute, so you said you're the body. Yeah, I did say I'm the body. Well, and you say you perceive the body. Are you the body or are you the perceiver of the body? Good question. Good question. All this is consciousness doing. It's not. There's no personal choice of being a spiritual, whatever. No, but at some point in our life, there is somehow we notice that consciousness now is starting to look in a different direction. It's no longer looking at, how can I be happy out there? How can I be happy with a better life, a better body, a better car? No, at some point you notice, oh, wait a minute, consciousness is now asking, who is Charo? So, well, what is this question? I'm 40 years old, I never thought of this question. What do you mean, who is Charo? Yeah, who is Charo? And somehow this question becomes interesting to you. You become interested in this question. You start going, yeah, well, heck, who's Charo? Charo, yeah, okay, the body is named Charo. My mama and my papa, they called this body Charo, but am I the body? These questions start becoming interesting to us. And as they become interesting, they become more and more interesting. They become more and more interesting. And at some point, we can't sweep those questions under the rug anymore. We become truth lovers. We become very interested in truth, in understanding about reality, about our reality, about the reality of consciousness. But it's always consciousness. It's all consciousness.
Thank you.
Okay, Charo, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Any questions? I see. Did we let Ola in? By the way, Holger, we Ola?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And I think Chris wanted to say something. He couldn't unmute.
Oh, Chris, you.
Oh, no, I was just thanking Magdi at the end of our discussion. I couldn't unmute to say thank you, so that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I would like to have a talk with consciousness.
I have a question after Holger, if I could, too.
Okay.
Please,
After consciousness speaks to consciousness, consciousness would like to speak to consciousness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I'm here.
When is it not consciousness?
Yeah.
Yes, Holger.
Yeah. No, this was just a humorous remark. I hear you. There's only consciousness.
Okay. Then yes, Frank.
Okay, well, I was hoping Holger would have a bigger question. I'm not really sure how this is going to come out, but I wanted to ask you if there's anything you could say that would. I keep going into doubt about consciousness not needing the body.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, I have all the, I know the concepts and everything, but I still get stuck on that. My doubt always goes back to that. That can't be true because,
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah. So is there anything you can say about that?
Yes. What do we mean by the body, the body is an appearance. It appears to you. It's not that consciousness appears to the body. If consciousness appeared to the body, then we could say that, okay, that consciousness depends on the body and therefore needs the body, requires the body. But the body appears in consciousness. It appears as sensations, perceptions, images. It's not that consciousness appears within an image or consciousness appears within a bodily sensation. If consciousness appeared within a bodily sensation, then consciousness would need a bodily sensation to precede it. And once this bodily sensation was on board, then consciousness would arise out of this bodily sensation. But it's the other way around. a bodily sensation arises in consciousness. So you could say bodily sensation needs consciousness because there is no bodily sensation that arises somewhere in the blue. It arises within consciousness. A toothache, a sensation of your back, of your feet on the ground. So therefore, you could say that the perception of your body or the sensation of the body requires consciousness because it arises with consciousness. Now, then you could say, well, okay, maybe there can never be consciousness without a body. It's true, you could say, well, maybe consciousness does not arise out of the body, but they co-arise. That thought and consciousness, the body and consciousness, or thought, the thought or image of the body, or bodily sensation and consciousness co-arise. And when the sensation of the body dissolves, then consciousness dissolves. Therefore, as a result of that, then Magdi, you must conclude that consciousness needs the body and the body needs consciousness. They're like twins, or not those twins, those people who are born, sometimes two kids are born, they're attached together, in the body, you know what I mean? So, but if that is the case, then when the sensation disappears and consciousness disappears, then we disappear. Consciousness means we disappear after a sensation. But between a sensation of a toothache and the sensation of your knee, meaning between two bodily sensations, you don't disappear. You don't disappear. It's not like I existed when there was a toothache, and I existed when there was a sensation in my knee, and in between I disappeared, or in between I was a mass of other bodily sensation. That's not our experience. Our experience is that we perceive bodily sensations, and then bodily sensation, actually, even they dissolve between one bodily sensation and the other. There is no bodily sensation, but we don't disappear. In deep sleep, there are no bodily sensations, but we don't disappear. All the bodily sensations, or 99%, disappear in deep sleep, but we don't disappear. When we're under anesthesia, all the bodily sensations disappear. You can cut you up and do operations and, I don't know, do all sorts of brain surgery they can do. You don't disappear. But the body is not there. You can ask somebody on the surgery after they wake up, look, did you experience what we did to your brain? And goes, no, I didn't experience anything. He says, well, you know what? We shifted things around in your brain. So, well, okay, I'll take your word for it. Show me proof. We'll show you video of the operation. Say, oh, wow. I had no experience whatsoever of the body. There was no bodily sensation whatsoever. Now we assume, there is an assumption that, okay, fine, there is consciousness. Consciousness is real, but there is another reality called the body. And reality A, meaning consciousness, depends on reality B. We assume, oh, consciousness is real, but it depends on the body, because there's another reality called the body. And if the body, reality A, disappears, reality B is going to disappear too. That's a belief in two realities. How could you have two realities? If you have two realities and they don't interact at all, then they don't exist. I mean, there's no reality B means nothing. If there is another reality besides reality A that doesn't interact at all with our reality, might as well talk about unicorns. But if there is a reality B besides our reality of consciousness, which interacts with our reality, then due to the interaction, therefore they belong to the same reality. They belong to one reality because they interact. The realities that interact are one reality. They're not two separate realities. So the belief that there is a reality called the body, separate from the reality of consciousness, leads to this confusion. But wait a minute, does reality B, does consciousness arise out of reality A, or does it disappear with reality A, or doesn't it? They're not two realities. There is one reality. And you need to become clear whether reality is a body or whether reality is consciousness. That's your business to determine. If reality is the body, if you come to the conclusion that reality is the body, then you can conclude, based on the fact that the bodies die, that consciousness will die. Because you have determined that there is one reality, and that reality is the body, is a mortal body. Then, but I invite you to look into this belief. How could reality die? It's a contradiction in terms. Reality does not mean something which appears and disappears. Whatever appears and disappears in something. It doesn't appear and disappear in itself. Something perceives or knows the appearance of the baby and the disappearance of the old man. There's something that appears and disappears in something. It doesn't appear and disappear within a vacuum or within itself. So there is a reality which doesn't appear and disappear, which doesn't begin and end. And the body is an event which appears in 1980, whatever, and disappears in 20-something. So you need to determine, wait a minute, is the reality that within which appearances appear, or is reality that which appears and disappears? That's the question you have to determine. And you can't waver around it. You cannot say, oh, well, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some potatoes and some tomatoes, you know, yeah. No, you can't have it both ways. And I cannot do that for you. You need to come to that determination yourself.
I guess, you know, as this doubting self of mine is stuck on the idea that I've never seen, it's never seen consciousness in any way, any visible way, other than through acting through a what we call material body, including especially the brain. I know that you can cut off all parts of the body up to here, I guess, because I know there have been people that have had everything cut out except for from here up, and even the heart can be taken out, and all you have left is the brain, as a head, and you still have consciousness. But take the brain out of certain parts of the brain, it's gone.
Yeah.
So
you're assuming in your statement that consciousness resides in the body. Now, there is a difference between sentience and consciousness. Sentience belongs to the body. The body is sentient, meaning it's not like a stone, not like a rock. It's not like a piece of wood. Human bodies and animal bodies and other forms have a degree of sentience, meaning via their instruments. There is a difference between instruments. A pick is an instrument, right? Mm-hmm. But a computer is also an instrument. There is a difference between a pick and a computer, because a computer is an instrument like the pick, but it's much more complex. It allows you can program it, it can do musical, you can create music, you can create videos, you can have Zoom meetings, etc. But they're both instruments. Some instruments are sentient, like the body is sentient, but the rock is not sentient. In other words, via the body, there is a brain functioning, there are nervous systems, there is a respiratory system, it's a very, very, very complex, the liver, the lungs, the heart, it's very complex. It's like a computer. I mean, much more powerful than a computer, but it's still an instrument. You are confusing the functioning of an instrument with that which perceives the instrument, that which programs the instrument, that which uses the instrument, that which perceives through the instrument. So consciousness is not a complex instrument. Consciousness is the reality which perceives right now. Okay, you're hearing Magdi's words in English, a little bit broken English, but you're hearing it in Magdi's words in English, via the computer, of course, but also via the body mind, which is another computer. But that which hears these words is not the computer, which is called Frank. It's I hear these words.
Yeah, but Magdi, what about, and this is where, this will show you how far along I am with this still. I'm still really in the beginning stages. If you take out the ears, of course, there goes the hearing. I'm not going to be able to hear you.
Yes, like same thing with the computer. If you take the computer, you take the video card. I don't know how to do that, but some people know how to do that. They can take the video card of the computer. The computer still functions, but you have no video. If you remove the audio, I don't know, I guess there's a microphone in there. You remove the mic, then the computer still functions, but there is no video and no audio. But nothing is happening to me. I'm removing, nothing is happening to the program, nothing is happening to the viewer. Yeah, it's true that now the screen is blank screen, a black screen, I guess, or blank screen, whatever. It's true, but nothing has happened to me. Nothing has happened to the reality which perceives. Just because the computer has gone blank, the screen has gone blank, I haven't gone blind as a metaphor. This is just a metaphor, you know? Nothing happens to consciousness. If you take out the head, somebody cuts off my head, the body-mind instrument called Magdi ceases to function. Well, after maybe a few seconds or whatever, a minute, that ceases to function, okay? Takes a little while for the brain to shut down, whatever. But you're confusing consciousness, the reality that perceives, which is non-phenomenal. You see, the main, we believe that reality is objective. It's a matter. It's matter. It's in the brain. It's the head. It's the ears. You mentioned the ears, you know, which is matter. Which is we believe that there is a physical reality, and we overlook the reality of consciousness, which is not made out of matter. It's not phenomenal.
I always get confused though when I've heard both you and Francis say, you know, we're the reality that's hearing this voice right now. But isn't it more like, wouldn't it be more accurate to say, I am the reality that knows that there's hearing going on, but I'm not the one that's really hearing it?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
You know, it's yeah.
Because then if hearing's gone, you can say I'm the reality that knows that the hearing's gone.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm on board. You know, fully on board.
Okay. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Because it's almost like sometimes, like I'll be looking at something, and then I'm focused on what I'm looking at. But if I go back and see what is it that's looking at that, where is this seeing coming from? Right. And I get really, it's a whole different experience.
You cannot see, you cannot perceive consciousness like you perceive a phenomenon, like you perceive a phenomenal form, because consciousness is noumenal, is non-phenomenal, and reality is non-phenomenal. Because phenomena have a beginning and ending. I don't know, in 20 years, these glasses, I don't know where they'll be, or maybe they'll be stepped on, broken, or who knows, you know. Phenomena have a beginning and an ending. So they're perceptions. Consciousness is not a perception, it's the reality. of the reality of perceptions.
Okay.
And the reality of perception is that which truly perceives.
I heard somebody call it core subjectiveness. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. You could say, I think Kastrup, Bernardo Kastrup sometimes uses that term, of course. Yeah, that's a term to be used, but it's best to stay with the language, the most pertinent language, and core subjectiveness. Then what is not core? What is subjectiveness that is not core subjectiveness? Okay, we have to define.
Yeah, I don't want to get into words and stuff yet. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yes, but I also
it's words. Yeah.
Yes, I would say that's the core subjectiveness. Yeah. So because consciousness is nominal, I mean non-phenomenal, for the mind, from the mind perspective, it doesn't exist. It's like, what are you talking about? I exist. The mind, the phenomenal. I can talk about perceptions, the taste of pineapples. I can talk about traveling to Hawaii. I can speak about my relationship with my partner. I can speak about my bank account. That's more real. From the mind's perspective, that's reality. I can talk to you about my body, how I feel, my feelings, my emotions. That's from the perspective of the mind. But we're talking about the reality of mind. Like in your dream, you're in your night dream. You can talk about how you flew and what planets in the galaxies you visited and all the billions of dollars that you inherited from God knows whom. In your dream, you can speak about all of that. But their perceptions, their reality, the reality of all your perceptions is you, the dreamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is not in the dream. It's not in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say. So the ears, all of these instruments, the body, all of these are perceptions.
Mm-hmm. I still don't understand why Francis. I've heard Francis say this more than you. He always says that you're the one that's hearing these words right now. The I am is what's hearing these words right now. But to me, that doesn't make sense. Because I say, if you lose your ears, you're not going to hear that.
Yeah, but
you're not going to hear it, buddy.
But
it's the reality behind that. It's what's knowing of that. I'm making sense of this as I talk to you about this.
Yeah. Because now that there are these words, I mean, whatever it is that hears these words or that perceives these words, whichever way you want to say it, is consciousness. There isn't a body or some little creature or is not this instrument. It's not the instrument that perceives.
Right.
That's the main thing to comprehend. And yet you cannot deny perception, because perception or awareness is an attribute of consciousness. Consciousness and perception. Whenever there is awareness, there is consciousness. Whenever there is consciousness, there is awareness. They go hand in hand. They're not two. So consciousness is aware. It's aware of this conversation, which is phenomenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also aware that it is aware.
Mm-hmm.
When you're aware that you're aware, it's not phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
It's awareness aware of awareness. It's awareness.
It's going back more to the source.
To the source. And that's all. You can always test it. You can ask yourself, am I aware that I'm aware? You will say yes. That's evidence for you that awareness is aware that it's aware.
Mm-hmm.
It's aware of itself, in other words.
I got you. Okay, thanks, Magdi. Great.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, well, thank you all. Very lovely to be with you all. Mark and Holger, Frank, Chris, Gigi, John. Hi, Carol. Shalom.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes. Hello, Manoj.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes. George.
Thank you.
Yes. Mark.
Thank you.
Other Mark. And my sweet Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.